Madang, good morning, everyone. Thanks for starting your day the KUM way. Your starting lineup today, the morning meeting with our lovely news team.
Some of us, at least.
Well, Lacey, you were mentioning in particular.
Biba Mes Chamorro, everyone.
Yeah, Biba.
Good morning.
Biba Mes Chamorro and Biba, okay. Biba Discovery Day strike through. It is now Guam History and Chamorro Heritage Day, right?
Right.
But
Everybody going to be in Umatac.
But Chamorro spelled in the traditional way, not like with the capital C, capital H that now is the mandate. I noticed that, like a lot of the press releases we were getting, it's Chamorro Heritage Day, the old stuff.
So, yeah.
So is that like an official thing, or where we're
That's
stuck?
what I was wondering too, because obviously we've changed that to the capital C, capital H.
Yeah.
Lacey, what's been the talk for
Well,
that?
right now in the newsroom, I've discussed it with Joan. We're going to stick to what they've told us to use, the official way, which is the capital CH, which makes that sa sound, right? That's like one letter in Chamorro, and so that's at least what we're going to use. What we're following, there was some sort of public hearing or bill that passed to kind of solidify the names for the governor and the lieutenant governor again. So I'm not sure why we're forgetting about this. Where did the memo go?
That's the same, I feel like, when I recall the end of, what was it, Camacho's administration.
Yep.
He wanted his legacy to be the island of Guam to be Guahan. And so there's this big talk about whether it's going to cost a lot for things to be changed, from the smallest thing, from a letterhead to government agencies, and what that's going to cost. But
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was working here when that came about at the end of Governor Camacho's tenure, as you said, and you know, the island's private sector, which has a heck of a lot of clout in our community, they were like, okay, you know, you want to do that, you want that to be your legacy, that's fine, you know, we support that, you know, legacy and heritage and all and everything like that. Who's gonna cut the check for all that stationery and our signage and our billboards and our advertising that we're gonna have to do? And so we kind of are stuck in this uncomfortable kind of like gray area where, you know, everybody calls what used to be called Agana Hagatnya, but you've still got Agana Heights, East Agana Bay, Agana Springs. You know, there's like a whole bunch of stuff that like kind of never really got moved over. So hopefully this thing with what I grew up calling Discovery Day, which is not, I always get this wrong, it's Guam History and Chamorro Heritage Day. I nailed it. Hopefully they're going to put that to the new like CH, because you know half the island right now is still going with the old one.
I'm not sure if that was like I think it was just an oversight when they send us emails and stuff like that. Press releases come in on email now. Sometimes they do come in on through fax. Please stop faxing us. But
if faxes are, I don't know where they're sending it to. We haven't plugged ours in years.
Is fax still a thing, or?
It is. They still call and ask, but it's just a matter of remembering that's the standard that we're trying to move forward toward. Just standardize it.
Okay, before we get to some more, sorry Nick, I know you're running the ship and everything, but before we get to more important matters of the day, can I just ask, Madam Camera Person, could we please get a tight shot of Miss Lacey's coffee mug there? That is the most awesome coffee mug we have in the entire company. I love that. So
Thanks.
you are a big comic book geek, unashamedly, right?
No, I am ashamed of it, but never mind. Don't
Do
worry
not
about
be
that.
ashamed of your nerd past. Speaking of heritage and culture, you know.
All right.
How long have you had that? That's an awesome X-Men
I
cup.
don't know.
Okay.
10 years maybe.
Okay, I can just see the comments already. Well, Jason, what are you talking about? Okay. But there's actually some big stuff coming up today, speaking of Chamorro Heritage Day. Of course, the annual landing, Nick. You were doing the assignments today.
The reenactment.
Yeah, you've actually got us on the KUM digital side actually going down to Umatac, so we are going to be there, and we are going to live stream that at 1 o'clock. Super looking forward to doing that, because it's always a very moving event.
Yeah. First, let's bring in Carmen Victoria. She just joins us now in studio.
Good morning, Carmen.
Happy Monday, Carm.
Oh my
Let me be a gentleman, right? And now that I've helped her up, tardy to
do something this morning.
It's fine. Beautiful.
tardy to the party.
Earrings there.
I know. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if you're having a Monday like mine, it's a slow Monday.
Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully it's going to be better, because it's barely
Maybe.
started.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
We'll talk about our night in a bit. We'll wrap things up with that, because Carmen and I ran into each other over the weekend, at least last
that was
night.
fun.
So we'll get to what that was about. But first, let's get to some of the big topics of the week and what happened over the weekend. That's what you got working.
I think one of the big things is not till Wednesday though.
Right.
It's Judge Gatewood, Judge Francis Tainika Gatewood has basically ordered the governor, the speaker, members of the Guam Solid Waste Agency, and attorneys involved in the case to go to the dump. Basically,
Yeah.
you're gonna do a final tour of the dump in preparation, hopefully for the final transition back to local control.
We're talking about the one down there.
yeah, the
that's on-
closure of Ordot Dump and the
Ordot.
opening of the Luzon landfill. It's like a decade-long thing. Actually goes further back than that, but the assignment of a federal receiver to take over the Ordot Dump, the closure of the Ordot Dump, took place about 10 years ago, and so it's taken this long to finally get that closed to the satisfaction of the federal authorities, and opening, of course, the Luzon landfill, which will be now the permanent dump site, if we will, for solid waste. And no question that I think most people will agree that trash collection has improved since the solid waste system was taken over by the federal receiver. It's cost a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars. If you ask the government of Guam, it's a long time coming. The government of Guam has wanted to take that back sooner rather than later, but the court was not satisfied that they were ready to do that. I think this particular tour is designed to kind of go over all of the things that are required, and the judge can then make her decision finally to give it back to the Guam Solid Waste Authority.
About time, and they've also been beefing up their staff, hiring management, board members, so that that transition can happen without fail.
Yeah, there's a new chief financial officer.
Mm-hmm.
There was actually a general manager and a CFO. They both quit just last year, seemingly over a dispute with the receiver and their relationship. So a new general manager, as I understand it, has been hired. I don't know if he's here yet, but they hired him out of the mainland, and we hired someone out of DOA. I think it's Liz Kakigi, to be the CFO.
Did the fact?
But just what started this whole thing was the fact that, well, we can go back to the end of the war, but that used to be, Ordot used to be a valley.
It's a mountain.
It's a mountain now,
Yeah.
but it was
It's like layered.
35 years after the war, they decided that there was so much pollution that was going through from illegal dumping or unregulated dumping or what have you. And nobody really knows what's at the bottom of Ordot, you know, but it was leaking toxic chemicals into the Lunfit River. And so even since the mid-'80s, the federal EPA was advising Gov Guam, you need to take care of this. Gov Guam, for various reasons, was not able to take care of the issue. And so 10 years ago, the federal court decided, well, if you're not going to do it, we've given you all these chances, we're going to force you to do it. We're going to turn it over to a federal receiver. And so the Ordot dump has now been capped, and the Luzon landfill has been open. I guess the final step is to return control from the federal receiver to the government.
I got to ask something because, you know, you and I have been covering the chief judge for many, many years. You know, we've had the privilege of being able to sit down with her and, you know, talk to her about the cases she oversees and everything. And if you know Francis Taidenko Gatewood, you know, she's very fair, but also she does not like to waste time. I can only imagine, like, you know, they do these trips over and over, and we've done so many stories where they said, okay, there's another site visit, you know, we're nearing completion. And as you said, we've talked about this for nearly a decade. I wonder at some point, is she going to say, okay, guys, we got to get this deal done. You know, it's this thing is lingering like nothing else.
I think she has been saying that.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
why she
I've
closed the dump.
I sat in a lot of those hearings.
Yeah, and a lot of it has been a lack of political will, because really it's the whole NIMBY thing.
Right.
I mean, we've had this at Ordot for so many decades. To find a new place to put a dump, where are you going to put it, right? And who wants a dump in their backyard,
Nor
right?
in my backyard.
So,
Yeah.
And Lace, I'm sure you remember a lot of those stories before. It had to do with people getting their trash picked up late, and that was a lot of the concern as well.
And it still is, and I'm not sure if that's causing this problem with illegal dumping now. With this, now that it's standardized, we have illegal dumping, and they're saying that people can't afford it. So this is kind of this weird circle of life, I guess. And
Yeah.
trash on Guam, and all right.
It's a big problem. People clean up.
Yeah.
Hey, but you know,
I went down to
Very
beaches
trashly.
this weekend, and I mean, it's not like a big breaking news story, right? But there's trash everywhere. So it's honestly pretty embarrassing. So I don't
Yeah.
know. Every time I see, like, even things I do on the weekend, I'm like, oh my gosh, people are just throwing things on the floor like it's no one's business. So
okay,
speaking of trash dumping, it has nothing to do with this, but there is that viral video of that
Yeah.
woman that's
exactly,
Throwing
there was
trash into the ocean.
Some cardboard.
that's been going around on WhatsApp. I mean, I got it too, and I'm like the least connected person on
Yeah.
WhatsApp. I mean, my friends don't even talk to me like on WhatsApp, and I got that video, but
Yeah.
we haven't actually put out the story yet. But I know we're working on it, right?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Okay, so break it down. Like, what is it?
Well, I spoke to Sergeant Paul Tapau about that video, and unfortunately, he says there's another issue at play. The woman in the video may have some mental health problems as well.
But that I think that what's important about that is people are taking pride, I guess, at least in that one moment where you're taking a video of it. But
Right.
what about
but-
the rest of Guam? Why don't you stop
Yeah.
people when you see it the rest of Guam?
Exactly. I think people are really, really quick to judge or take videos and say, oh, see this person doing this, but then they don't go out into the water and start collecting the trash that they see, right? So it goes both ways. But there were a few issues that play in that video. I mean, I don't think it's, it's not everyone that's just going to throw cardboard,
Yeah.
big pieces of cardboard into the ocean. So
And that was over
she
at
may,
Sleepy Lagoon, right?
I don't know exactly where the video was taken.
Like that was a Lupin Cove, I believe.
Maybe.
That's what it looked like.
That's
But-
just an isolated incident.
Yeah.
But not to say that it is though.
I mean,
because there are
particularly in
people-
that particular case.
Yeah, but there are people that do. They just throw their
Right.
trash. They just think it's okay to dump it into Edido, right? We saw those videos with when Chris Barnett went on the starting lineup show. If you haven't seen that,
I
was
was there.
pretty impressive.
Ken was there, who's on the camera. Asha was, and it stank.
And you know what's crazy? It's like when I first started here, maybe a year and a half ago. Same thing, right? I went down with Gigo Mayor, Rudy Metzanani, and we saw cars, and we saw a bunch of illegal dumping. And he's telling me this problem exists. A year later, it still exists.
So
It's
does
not,
that have to? Some of that have to do with paying for garbage disposal?
Yeah.
Because
Well,
now
some
it's
items-
standardized. Well,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, it's,
people don't want to have to pay.
Yeah, and people don't. They don't want to pay, or they think it's easier to just throw it on the side of the road. But then you think about it, that's
you
going to
e-
cost you a lot
Have
more in
you
the long
ever
run.
seen anyone dump anything on the side of the road? In my small village, I live in Agana Heights, and there used to be an empty lot.
Yeah.
Nick, there's a new house that's near your grandmother's house, and
Right.
it's kind of it goes into a loop, but it was just an empty lot for a long time, and somebody rolled in, and I watched them dump an old boat there once.
Horrible.
It's a very small community.
Yeah, horrible stuff. And like people have sent me, messages like, "Oh my gosh, check out all this trash that's just accumulating." Right? I don't know. It's a really hard problem to solve. Like even down in Sagachang Beach near where I live, there's so much trash there. It's just, and in the water, right? I just don't think that's right. And there are a lot of environmental movements going around. Like a lot of people are moving from plastic straws to these metal straws. There's a lot of this, especially in my younger generation. Everyone I know, they post these things like, okay, we're only going to bring reusable containers when we go take out, stop the styrofoam, right? I think it was Senator Esteves, previous Senator Esteves, former Senator Esteves.
yes.
Oh, geez. My English is not good today. But he pretty much introduced this bill about styrofoam, and, we don't know where that's at the moment with this new legislature that's coming in.
Well, we do have a podcast, and there is and Joan actually did a really nice profile on the company called MISA, and they are
MISA.
actually producing environmentally safe and responsible products, reusable straws among them, and they also have like reusable toothbrushes too.
And I think that's really cool. Like that is like a
Super
good movement that people should adopt, but we shouldn't ignore that there are other environmental concerns, right? The same time you brush your teeth in the morning, you should go out there and pick up trash, right? I don't know.
Hopefully wash your hands in between, because that could be kind of gross.
Maybe you sound a little
And
preachy,
maybe it
but
does come back down to fining as well. The government needs to get back to that. I don't know what happened, EPA, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, those are stories that we're constantly following, right? These are things that don't really go away.
Could I just say one thing that we are working on that everybody out there is going to love, because, you know, it is, of course, the beginning of Chamorro month right now. Mes Chamorro, Biba Mes Chamorro. And as to celebrate our island's rich culture and history, we actually have a special month-long series coming up on Instagram. So you guys want to check us out at KUM News. We have Village Vibe. We are scouring the island. We're going to every single municipality, and we are taking pictures. We're talking to island residents, and we are letting you guys know what is so awesome about your village. But we can't do this alone. You know, not all of us live in like all different villages and everything. So we want your feedback. So we're going to put up the pictures. We've talked to a few people. We're going to represent your village. But we want you guys to put in your comments what is so awesome about your village. And sometime this morning, we are kicking it off with Aganya, right, Ken? Hagatnya. So Ken's giving me the big thumbs up. Hagatnya.
Well,
Aganya, Hagatnya.
Too bad.
Okay, so we are getting started with our island's capital. So we are going to shine some very, very positive light on Hagatnya and let you guys know exactly what we found. But again, we also want you guys to jump. If you're from Hagatnya, if you previously lived there, if you just love it, make sure to add in comments why Hagatnya is so awesome. One thing that people don't realize, and I didn't really become aware of this until we were doing like election coverage, is Hagatnya is actually the island's least populated village.
Really?
Like, how many people do you know that actually live in Hagatnya? I mean, it's a business center to be sure, but it is the least populated village.
That's true.
Wow.
That's a reversal of historically it was the most popular.
Exactly. Like it was kind of like the Manhattan, and then now it's.
Cool.
I mean, there's all those companies right there, but how many people do you actually know that actually live in Hagatnya?
I love history.
I've known a couple, but not
that lesson. I love learning about every village, and every village has like. They all have these like little festivals and things that I love. Oh, I love Mes Chamorro.
Yeah. So that's coming up on Instagram, so check us out.
It's not just Mes Chamorro this year. It's second Chamorro all month or all year. All year long. I'm totally butchering that.
No,
second Chamorro, the whole year long. So not just Mes Chamorro.
Biba second Chamorro, says Jesse Torres.
Biba!
Nice.
So.
Thank you, Jesse Torres, for helping me out. I want to practice Chamorro in my daily life. Emery Arceo is going to be our guest on tonight's Cruising.
Yeah, Cruising with KUM tonight after the KUM News Prime Time.
If you watch it, I mean, she's absolutely amazing.
Did she teach you some words?
I mean,
phrases?
I took one Chamorro class with Senor Onadera when I first moved back to Guam, and I was so like, I stood up in the class and I'm like, okay, I'm in this class because, you know, I'm Chamorro, but I can't speak Chamorro. And I was honestly really like scared and nervous to even say anything. Like when we're doing the little presentations, like, oh, Finat Mamas. Like I thought people were going to laugh at my accent. But you know what? You just got to do it. Like you just got to go and use little words in your daily life is what she told us. So like, little things like I don't even know how to say cup. That's pretty embarrassing.
So Cruising with KUM. So you interviewed Anne-Marie Arceo from Harao Academy. We're going to have that up on YouTube in about an hour. So you guys make sure to check out Carm's interview with that on YouTube.
It's going to be fun.
All right. Also, the Gov's back from her trip to D.C. Lots to talk about there. We hear she has a busy day, though, today. Even though it's a government holiday, she's still at work. A lot of the kids, lucky you, you're out here.
I know,
no school, no classes.
GRE.
Private school and public schools are both off today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, private schools are off.
People were messaging us, and it's okay. You still got a couple more makeup days from all these storms we've been having. Carm, how do we wrap up our weekend?
Oh, we did something cool.
We did.
We went to Timon Bay Music Festival.
Which
is going
still
on
continues this week.
all week. Super cool events, right? Like they've got like orchestras, and I think today there's some kids from Saipan who are here, which is really cool. There's like a big event, like some of my family's here. So
I spoke to one of the performers yesterday at the TBMF in Tumon. I was like, how did you guys prepare for this event with all the destruction and devastation you went through with you two? And he said, just stay positive.
I mean,
That's it. He just
music.
had that to say,
Music is
and-
something that's so beautiful. I think it really helps throughout anything that you're going through in life. And that's why this weekend, me and Nick went to go see AJ Raphael, who is like amazing. Okay, he was so good.
Also local.
He's
Fangirl.
Right?
He's a YouTube star.
Right?
He's like Filipino American, right,
Yeah.
from California.
Yeah.
It was just a beautiful moment. I mean, last week was really hard for me personally. So I think music and a lot of beautiful events, like you see the sun coming down, right? They're in Tumon, it's a free concert, and then you hear him singing about love, which is like
And the crowd's response to
universal.
that and the interaction. You guys
Really
seen
nice.
the video I've sent. Jace, you
I
posted
love-
that online.
That's on Facebook and on
I
Twitter
love-
right now. AJ actually led the
Yeah.
crowd in singing
some of the
Ariel's
songs.
song from The Little Mermaid, and
Yeah.
everybody was into it.
Yeah.
Part of this world, right?
Part of your world.
Part of your world.
I think his message was so positive, right?
Would you sing a couple bars of part from Little Mermaid for us right
Oh
now?
my gosh.
I would not.
Okay.
Okay, I saw
I tried. Hey, give Nick some thumbs up and hit the emoji, guys. Maybe he
I
will
saw
sing.
some really great young
That's a great way to
people
start
out
your week.
there. Like the crowd was very young, and a lot of them, like I heard people yelling, like, "Oh, you know, Viva Simon Sanchez," or they're like
Yeah.
doing all this stuff. So it was a lot of high school kids, and it just brought me a lot of joy. Like I was like crying.
But
part
I was
of it.
surprised there was quite a few Monongo out there. They're like,
Yeah.
hey, Nick, can you just get me some
'Cause he's
church
like,
for these old ladies? I was like, yeah, I got you.
It was just.
But
a
they were
fun
there to
time.
support the younger generation as well.
Right.
Yeah, did you guys see? I wanted, because I was kind of interrupting, but the local bands. I mean, that's the whole.
The local
thing.
bands were amazing.
Yeah, they
Like
were
AJ
wonderful.
Raphael, you know what he did? He actually brought up someone from Guam. I think his name was Martin.
Yeah,
Is it a
Martin.
Martin? I don't know who you are, Martin, but you're amazing
He's our
too.
local
okay?
Bruno Mars.
Because he was so good. He brought
Yeah.
him up on stage, had him sing a song with him. I even forget. This, there was like a medley. Like it
Yeah,
wasn't
it was
even
a
just
medley.
one song.
But they also brought on a couple of
Mama
other singers.
Char.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And a
It was
couple other
just.
local singers.
It was like. And then even the kids that were just there, he brought one kid on. I don't know, this kid with this hair and some glasses. He was amazing too. So I was just like, wow, like we have some amazing, incredible local artists. And he even complimented the local music scene. Like
Yeah.
AJ Raphael was like, I love coming to Guam because you guys appreciate and love live music. And that is just 100% true. Every weekend I try to do a little bit of like going out. If it's not Jesse and Ruby at Outrigger, it's something else, right? Because there's so much to appreciate and value that we have here on Guam. And local talent, you know, we have YouTube stars too. So anyway, it just totally made my weekend. Little things, little news stories came. AJ Raphael.
And speaking of little news stories and big ones too, please share them with us, reporters at KUAM.com, as well as on all of our social media platforms where you can find a lot of those videos as well that Carmen's talking about from the concert. And remember, tbmfguam.org is where you can also find the list of events happening. KUAM, one of the major sponsors for this event, it's supporting local talent, supporting the arts out there as well. Ness is going to sing maybe next year.
Yeah, sure.
And today, take your kids today, you know?
Yeah.
If you try to figure out what to do.
Yeah, if you have the day off, check out TBMF. Check out
Umatac.
down in Umatac for the reenactment of Magellan's Landing at 1 o'clock today.
And if you're on the other side of the world, make sure to watch the live stream because we got
Yeah.
you on that one too. So
We got
1 o'clock, we're going to go live.
Until then, guys, we'll see you tonight. KUAM News Primetime, 6 o'clock local time. Adios.